Hey guys, this is Courtney, and today I wanted to give an announcement that I am going to be rebranding my channel name and my whole brand, website, all of that to Cosmic Clarity Astrology. So make sure that you guys go ahead and write that down, save that information in case you ever do search for my channel and can't find it no longer under this name. So today's video, we're going to be talking about the Jupiter Uranus Conjunction, and that's happening on April 20th in the sign of Taurus at 21 degrees. This is a rare transit that happens around roughly every 14 years, and it is one of the most significant events that's happening in 2024 that astrologers are looking forward to. This is really exciting because both Jupiter and Uranus can have positive energies. Jupiter especially. Uranus is a little bit of a wild card. So when they come together, these slow planets that really do affect kind of the way our society functions, when they finally come together and unite, they almost have a little rendezvous and give us the potential to have some kind of breakthrough or timeline jump essentially in this lifetime. So I see this almost as like a quantum leap, a breakthrough, a time of hope and prosperity and progress and reinvention or simply invention into something new. And so this is a really exciting time. And we're going to go over what this is going to look like for all of the rising signs. What I'm getting or what I'm going to be predicting for you guys is what you're going to be blessed with or what the breakthrough is going to be for you happening in April. It's very likely that we're already starting to kind of feel some of these energies shifting and these storylines lining up so that throughout the month of April, this energy becomes more obvious, more potent. And you might see something significant happen in the month of April, especially if you have any angles, most likely the angular houses. So like the 1st, 4th, 7th, and 10th house cusps around 21 degrees. Or if you have especially Taurus 21 degrees, which is where this is happening, or the fixed signs, which is Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, you're going to feel this really significantly. And then you'll also still feel it if you have that also. Planets also around 21 degrees of earth or water signs. So those are who it's going to be really impacting the most. If it's not hitting anything in your chart at all, then maybe you won't really get a huge jolt or a huge breakthrough. Maybe you're doing just fine, or maybe it's just not your time for that. And then others are going to notice a really significant shift. But as a society, as a whole, we can start to see things progress, but it's usually something that we can most clearly see retroactively. So once we've kind of passed this point in time, years later, we can look back and see, oh, that is a turning point for us. That was marking this time in history, or there was some sort of advancement that was heralding a new chapter into our lives as a collective or even in our personal lives. So it's a really, really exciting time. Jupiter is the great benefic. It's the bringer of blessings and children and abundance, and it's a very social planet as well. So it has sorry, I just saw my cat walk outside. So it has a lot of potential to bring in new relationships and connections and opportunities. And then Uranus is a planet of innovation, of progress, a little bit of rebellion as well, change, surprise, technology. And both of them tend to bring a lot of clarity, a lot of wisdom, and the potential for great healing. So I'm excited to see how this can impact us on a more personal scale. But before we do that or talk about each sign, we're going to jump into first discussing what this has looked like in the past, and then maybe get like a really quick overview of what this could look like for the collective. So the last time Jupiter and Uranus came together was in January 2001, really early in January. So it's really something that you would have felt in December and the first week of January. So these planets came together in the sign of Pisces. And during this period of time, we had SpaceX become the first privately owned company to launch, orbit, and recover a spacecraft. So this is extremely Uranian, and obviously Jupiter is also about things progressing and moving forward, more so from a place of personal growth, societal growth, internal expansion as well as spiritual expansion. But and also Jupiter has a very strong link with things that are foreign. So bringing various elements together. And Uranus also has this type of quality where we are kind of bridging different types of maybe technologies or fields and kind of melding them together and creating something new and unique. And so we can see a lot of unique advancements through the coming together of these two planets. So we could see here that obviously this had a lot to deal with things progressing in terms of leaving this world, which I love that because it feels very kind of Aquarian and Pisces in nature, that there's a technological advancement that quite literally has us leave Earth, which I think is super cool. Also during this Jupiter Uranus conjunction in 2011, we had Obama repeal a policy that banned people who are gay from openly saying they were gay or joining the military under that pretense or something of that nature. So I'm probably not wording that correctly, but I think you guys know what I'm saying. So obviously this is very much a Piscean theme and also Aquarius. We can really see the blend of the two because Uranus is there, but we can really see how people who were previously considered underdogs are getting some kind of breakthrough. And that's common with Jupiter and Uranus. We can see reversals of roles and fortunes. So people, especially who were winning and who had the upper hand, but who were not good or it was outdated or it was wrong, we can see those things start to have a little bit of a shift happen with the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. And I think that's really even more emphasized because Pluto being in the sign of Aquarius, the sign of the people, we are really in an age or an era where the emphasis is on the collective and the individual, the layperson, and not the governmental forces. And so it's a time of empowering each person and fighting for our own unique rights. And so we can start to see how maybe some power can shift into the hands of the people, especially healers, because Jupiter and Uranus together are both very spiritual planets. And so not only are we more adept at healing things that we might be stuck in terms of cyclical patterns and things that have been just feeling like we cannot get out of them. Uranus and Jupiter together can really, again, jump this timeline. It can get us out of some cycle of suffering. It can help us see things from a higher perspective, give us solutions to existing problems. It can give us this higher level awareness that our human brain doesn't have access to on an ordinary level or on an ordinary day. So it's really an opportunity for us to open up to extra senses. We might feel quite literally more sensitive during this time, and the information that comes to us should really be noted because it is significant for the path forward. The previous time that Jupiter and Uranus came together in the same sign as Taurus was in May of 1941, and during this period of time was kind of in the middle of World War II. Nazi Germany was at its height. There was a lot going on in terms of violence and oppression. And during this period of time, May in particular, the British, I don't know what you would call them, government, elected Winston Churchill. And he became the person who a few years later finally led to the demise of the war and of the Axis powers and Nazi Germany in 1945. So basically, the person who helped reverse the roles of power at that period of time, who helped end the war that was obviously horrible, and I think you can again see here how like the good wins. So it's like the evil was winning at that time, but when Winston was elected, when things basically set into motion for there to be a reversal of power, was the same time Jupiter and Uranus came together. So I think that's very fascinating how these things happen. And so I think that also really goes to show that whatever happens this month is not necessarily going to be an immediate resolution of something. We can feel like we have a breakthrough. We can have this really important piece click into place. But again, we often won't see how that is so significant until we look back on this period of time retroactively and we can see, okay, yeah, that was the moment in time where I made this different choice or I had this new perspective that once I followed that path led me to a completely different reality. That timeline jump, that reversal of roles, that reversal of fortune, and enhanced my life to a really significant degree, or made a really noticeable difference in my life where a chapter was almost turned, but in a positive way, a resolution of something in a positive way. So it's really important right now not to put too much pressure on this period of time of seeing these amazing blessings and results, because those could take time to unfold, but those really important characters or pieces of the puzzle will click in together during this period of time when the Jupiter and Uranus come together in our chart. One other thing I think is important to note is that sometimes we also can't fully understand how significant this is for ourselves, but even more so from other people looking at our own lives. So we might, let me give you an example. So also when Jupiter and Uranus came together in Taurus, during this period of time in May 1941, the world's first programmable automatic computer was invented, which obviously sets the stage for this huge technological boom that we have had later, even more so now with Pluto and Aquarius. I think that's something that we can really get a sense of in this period of time. In April, there's probably going to be some technological advancements, maybe with AI or something else, where that sets the precedent for something much bigger later down the line. But there's going to be people who don't get it when it first comes out. Like when that computer first arrived, maybe there are people who didn't understand the purpose. This was 1941. This is a long time ago. So I don't know what level of technology people were aware of at that time, or what they thought it would be used for, if they even knew it existed. So there's a lot that I feel like could be shifting for us, even as a collective, but in our personal lives as well, where things that we have this guided intuition to do or to follow, it's so outside the box, it's so progressive, it's so ahead of its time that it's more likely to not be well received or to be misunderstood or even just kind of downplayed before it reaches its full pinnacle of success. And then people years from now will see how significant that thing really was. And I think that we can see that also with the example of Winston Churchill. He was elected during that period of time, or he was, moved into office or voted for at that period of time when that conjunction took place. But I don't know if anyone really knew that he was going to be kind of that big turning point in the war, for example, or that really significant player in the ending of a massive cycle of despair and destruction. So we can see how these things set into place now, but aren't always fully understood. So just really keep that in mind. So during these Jupiter-Uranus conjunctions, we can typically expect to have some kind of idea come through for us that we can bring to fruition. And that means that, again, the idea doesn't mean that the whole thing is completed. The results are not always here right away, although sometimes they will be. If you've been having an existing problem, you can come up with really powerful solutions to that problem, and you can have, again, some kind of turning point, especially in concerns with Taurus themed topics. So we're going to talk about that for each sign, because it's going to depend on what house you have Taurus in, the kind of problems or breakthrough or gift or blessing you could have as a result of these downloads or changes that you make in your life. But also, just talking about Taurus themes in general, this is very much related to the material world. This is related to our financial security, the kind of food that we eat, the cattle that we have on this earth, the nature itself, our clothes, our sense of security, our sense of stability, our sense of independence as well, being able to truly be autonomous in every sense of the word, our sense of worth and value and the feeling of what we bring to the table, and our own kind of inner resolution to be consistent or work hard or see things through and have positive results with things. So all of those are very Taurus topics. And so we can see that these this Jupiter Uranus conjunction can have some kind of breakthrough or shift concerning the material world or concerning those things that I just mentioned. One of the things that I think is really important with something like this is that we need to be aware of how impulsive an energy like this can be. So there are lots of benefits to this. This is a time of blessings, of breakthrough, of radical shifts that can really enhance our lives. But also sometimes what happens with the exuberance of Jupiter and the progressive, rebellious nature of Uranus, when they come together, they can sometimes not really see how they have maybe blind faith and optimism in the value of change and revolution, because that can be helpful, yes, of course, but also there can be an element of throwing everything out, the baby out with the bathwater, when there are things that are actually functioning and maybe just need revision, when there's wisdom from the past that we need to carry forward, but instead they're just rooting for what is new and progressive. So we really need to keep our heads kind of balanced and look at things through an unbiased perspective while still having faith and optimism. So can we look at the facts? Can we look at the data while still believing that there is a higher possibility and potential, but not getting so blinded by our faith that we refuse to acknowledge, real issues, or refuse to look at the entire equation and be truthful and honest with ourselves and others. Another aspect of this is that we can sometimes get a little bit overzealous and overcommit ourselves. We can scatter ourselves. We can not really have a necessary focus on this energy, which is interesting because it is in Taurus, which is a fixed earth sign, which tends to be very focused, very kind of committed to a particular vision or habit or way of being, so much so that they can almost have trouble, being too stagnant, or not stagnant necessarily, but like unwilling to change when it's required, unwilling to adapt. So this energy helps shake that up. It helps us adapt. But also, I think that this balance could be helpful because it could help maybe kind of focus these two planets. But that is a little bit of a risk where we might kind of scatter our focus, energy, attention, our money, our resources, and we could come to later regret that. So just being aware that change comes at a cost. Saying yes to something means saying no to something. Looking at the entire picture of things and being willing to listen to yourself with logic. So I think that's super, super important. I think this also has a very creative and imaginative energy, which is something I really love because it helps us tap into our higher mind, our higher consciousness, our higher self, so that we can reinvent or reset or renew something in our life. So this could look like revamping something old or starting something new, but that still reinvigorates us. So there's this energy of something coming back to life, especially in the house that this conjunction is happening in for you. So I think that's all I want to say about the general energy of this conjunction. Let's go ahead and jump into what this is going to look like for all the rising signs. And if you enjoyed this, don't forget to comment and like this video, share with your friends so that we can get my channel out there. And I appreciate you guys so much. All right, so up first, we have Aries rising and sun. So the Jupiter and Uranus conjunction that's happening on the 20th of April is taking place in your second house of finances, possessions, and self-worth. So I love this because I think it's going to set you guys up for some really big material success. Maybe you guys will have a new way of making money. You might have some kind of ideas to solve an existing problem in terms of your current possessions. Like if you own a home and you want to figure out what to do about it, like maybe you want to rent it out to somebody, for example. Maybe you want to buy a home and you're figuring out how to accomplish that. But I'm seeing you guys becoming much more, I guess, of a manifester. I think that's what's coming through really strongly. You might have some kind of, again, idea of how to make, improve, manage your money or your belongings. And I think that you guys may have been feeling like this area of your life, there might be something that has been uncertain for you or unknown, and maybe causing you some anxiety. So maybe for some of you, you felt like there was an idea or like a thought on the tip of your tongue almost, where it's like, okay, yeah, I feel like I'm supposed to do this, but I'm not quite sure exactly how that would manifest. I'm not sure like how I would truly put this into play. And so maybe you've been toying around with things. I really get the sense that like you have a lot of tools, but you haven't almost like known how to piece them together in the really profound way. It's like you have that's what the magician is like. She has so many of these amazing tools and skills and abilities, but she really just needs to learn that she doesn't need more information or to do more things. It's almost like she just needs to learn how to be a little bit resourceful and independent, and be able to uniquely combine some of these tools without having to look at a specific existing way of doing things. And I think that's important because, you know, you are an Aries, you are a leader, a pioneer, and we are coming in, or we are in a phase with the North Node in your sign. So it's really about this, again, innovation of what can I do that doesn't quite exist. And with this divine wisdom card, I really feel like you guys are going to get almost like this download of, yes, this is what I want to do. And I think some of you guys have been already kind of getting these subtle hints and images and things that come through in dreams, and you feel something maybe intuitively. But with the Nine of Swords, there could be some kind of feeling of also worry of, if I do this, then what? Or maybe there are some, you know, intuitive instincts that you have, but then there's also some practical kind of everyday concerns that you are worried about that you don't have the answers to. So I'm really getting the sense that this conjunction that's happening is coming through to help you learn how to take what is already in existence and make it work, problem solve around your financial life, and help you trust more of that divine wisdom and these downloads that are coming to you, and act on them so that you can truly manifest something in the physical reality. I think some of you guys, this could also be involving a breakthrough in terms of your own self-worth, because a lot of times we need to, in order to have these solutions come to us, we first need to feel like we are that person. We're being that person who can have what we want. And then once we believe that, then it's like we open the door for the possibility of solutions and problem solving to come through. Because if we start off with a negative mindset of not feeling like we're capable of it, we're not going to think of the solution. So that's also, I think, a potential breakthrough here with this Nine of Swords coming out, is releasing some of those fears of like the worst case scenario, or whatever else that could be for you that is leading you to maybe not taking action or not taking a big, bold leap in terms of your financial life. That's what I'm getting for you guys. Like there's a need to take some kind of intentional and conscious manifestation leap, if that makes sense. So it's not like you're just doing it without thinking. It's like, no, you're consciously manifesting something for months and then you take action on it. It's coming from a place of a lot of wisdom, a lot of self-awareness, a lot of intuition. Is there any messages from these angel cards that Aries needs to hear? Okay. Communicate clearly in the future, listen to your intuition. Okay, that definitely confirms the message that it's important to listen to your intuition. I feel like the communicate clearly card is really talking about the fact that your manifestations need to be cleared up and spoken to the universe. And as a result of doing that, you're going to be kind of met with what it is you're asking for. So make sure that you have a lot of clarity of what you're asking for. And I think that clarity is going to come to you in this conjunction in April. So really be looking out for that. It might even come sooner within the near future card, because this might be something that you're gaining clarity on before. And then around the Jupiter Uranus conjunction, that's when you can start to bring material things together and actually have some kind of significant move forward in terms of your manifestation. So, you know, like if it's starting a business, you would have the idea maybe in the near future. And then when April hits, you're actually forming the LLC. You're reaching out to people. You have your bio up. You have your offerings, that kind of thing. So it's like it's coming together. Any more messages for my Aries? So we have the World card. So some of you guys might also be ending some kind of cycle when it comes to your finances or your self-worth. Some of you guys might be deciding to close out a chapter that felt limiting to you. So if you were maybe working a job that you didn't like, or you owned a house that was too expensive, or you want to downsize, there's this feeling that you are ending some kind of physical, financial, material chapter. And it doesn't have to happen specifically in April, but what's kicking off for you in April is the start of that end. So many of you guys are going to notice some kind of ending in a chapter that feels like you're reaching a pinnacle. You're having some breakthrough, some kind of success, and it feels like it's like there's an old you before this period of time and then a new you after this period of time as a result of the decisions that you're making and the things that you're manifesting. So it feels like you're very clearly coming into some kind of victory once you listen to your intuition. I see the intuition, High Priestess, listen to your intuition, Divine Wisdom. These three cards are really spelling it out for me that you guys already know this inside of your heart right now, and you've been getting these inklings. But with the Nine of Swords, I really feel like there's been something bothering you or kind of sitting in the back of your mind where it hasn't let you fully dive into this inner knowing. So that's what I see you overcoming. I see you also being really, really strong manifestors and super attractive to abundance. So keep that in mind as you're sitting down to kind of visualize what your goals are. And I can't wait for you guys to manifest this. You'll have to let me know down below once it actually does come true. Again, I don't know the time frame on when these things actually will happen, but this will be a significant moment to the start or the end or the completion of whatever this physical possession, money-oriented cycle is for you. So super excited. Don't forget that my brand name is changing to Cosmic Clarity Astrology. So be on the lookout for that over these next few weeks. And I can't wait to see you in my next video.